They dumped me in a nursing home and forgot I existed. No goodbyes. No apologies. Just silence. For 6 years, I waited. But when the truth finally came out, let's just say karma has a way of rewriting the ending. This is a story about betrayal, survival, and the family you choose. Before we dive in, hit subscribe and turn on notifications because you won't want to miss what happens next. Stories like this? They're why we're here. The abandonment. My name is Evelyn Carter, and this is the story of how my own daughter erased me from her life. I remember the exact moment it happened. June 12th, 2016. A bright, cloudless morning. The kind that makes you believe nothing bad could possibly happen. Rachel, my only child, had insisted on driving me to Willowbrook Nursing Home after my hip surgery. "Just for a few weeks, Mom," she said, squeezing my hand in the car. "Until you're back on your feet." Her fiancé, Daniel, nodded along in the rearview mirror, his smile not quite reaching his eyes. I should have known something was wrong when they didn't let me pack my photo albums. "We'll bring them later," Rachel promised, tossing my suitcase onto the sterile twin bed in room 217. She kissed my forehead, a quick, dry peck, and then they were gone. No lingering goodbye. No tears. Just the squeak of her ballet flats down the hallway, fading into silence. The first week, I told myself they were busy. Rachel was planning her wedding after all. But when my phone calls went straight to voicemail, I started leaving messages. "Sweetheart, just checking in. Did you get the flowers I asked Nurse Amy to order for the centerpieces?" Silence. By the third week, I knew. The truth came in fragments. Nurse Patel slipped up one evening while adjusting my four. "Your daughter's wedding must be beautiful," she said absently. My stomach dropped. "What wedding?" Her face paled. "Oh, I thought you knew. It was in the society pages last Sunday." I made her show me the article on her phone. There they were, Rachel in a ivory Vera Wang gown, Daniel grinning in his tuxedo. The caption read, "A private ceremony at the Ridgewood Country Club, attended by 150 guests." The date? August 8th, 2 months after they'd left me here. That night, I stared at the water stain on my ceiling, counting the ways a mother's love could be thrown away. Had I been too strict when she was young? Too generous when she dropped out of law school? The questions gnawed at me like the arthritis in my hands. Then came the final betrayal. One rainy afternoon, a volunteer wheeled me to the activities room, where a stack of donated magazines sat on a table. That's when I saw it, Architectural Digest, open to a glossy spread titled, "Modernizing a Classic, Couple Revamps Historic Colonial." My colonial, my blue hydrangeas, my husband Robert's brass knocker, now replaced with some hideous modern thing. The article gushed about Rachel and Daniel's vision for the house. Not a single mention of me. I ran my finger over the photo of my former kitchen, now gutted, and felt something inside me harden. That's when the envelope arrived. Nurse Amy handed it to me after dinner, her brow furrowed. Came certified mail. Had to sign for it. The return address read Green and Associates, attorneys at law. Inside, a single line made my pulse spike. "Per your late husband's instructions, we require your presence to discuss the Carter estate's contingency clause." Contingency clause? Robert's will had been straightforward, everything to me, then to Rachel. But as I reread the letter, a wild thought took root. What if there was more? What if, after 6 years of waiting, I still held a card they never saw coming? That night, for the first time since arriving at Willowbrook, I didn't take my sleeping pill. Instead, I sat by the window, watching the moon cast shadows over the parking lot. Somewhere out there, Rachel was sleeping soundly in my house, in my bed, surrounded by everything I'd built. Let her enjoy it a little longer. Because tomorrow? Tomorrow I was calling a lawyer. The revelation. The law office of Green and Associates smelled like old books and expensive coffee. I clutched the armrests of my wheelchair as Marcus Green, a man younger than my dead husband had ever gotten to be, leaned across his polished mahogany desk and said the words that would change everything. "Mrs. Carter, your husband was a lot smarter than people gave him credit for." He slid a document toward me. The paper was thick, the kind that costs more per sheet than most people make in an hour. At the top, in bold black letters, Last Will and Testament of Robert James Carter. I know what the will says, I snapped. My fingers trembled as I adjusted my glasses. The house, the investments, everything went to me. And if I died or became incapacitated, it would pass to Rachel. Marcus smiled, a sharp, knowing thing. That's what everyone believed, including your daughter. He tapped a single paragraph near the end. But Robert added this amendment 3 months before he passed. Read it. The legal jargon swam before my eyes until one phrase leapt out. In the event my wife is involuntarily institutionalized or abandoned by next of kin, she retains full rights to modify beneficiary designations regardless of prior arrangements. The air left my lungs. He knew. Marcus nodded. Your husband had a client whose family dumped him in a home and stole his assets. He made sure it couldn't happen to you. For 6 years, I'd thought Robert's last gift to me was the diamond tennis bracelet tucked away in my safety deposit box. Turns out it was a loaded gun hidden in the fine print. Tell me what I need to do. Marcus pulled out a file labeled Carter Residence. First, we confirm you're of sound mind. I've already subpoenaed your medical records. Willowbrook psych evaluations show no cognitive decline. He flipped open a folder of bank statements. Second, we prove Rachel's been systematically looting your assets. The numbers blurred as he pointed. $28,000 withdrawn from my savings account the month after my admission. My rare book collection sold at auction. And the kicker, a pending sale agreement for the house I'd lived in for 42 years, listed at $1.2 million. She can't do that. My voice cracked. That's my home. Actually, she can't. Marcus produced a deed with a yellow sticky note marking a critical line. See this? The title transfer was never finalized. Rachel has power of attorney, but you're still the legal owner. I nearly laughed. All those years Rachel spent mocking Robert for being obsessed with paperwork, and now his obsession would save me. Then came the question I hadn't let myself consider. If I take everything back from Rachel, who does it go to? Marcus hesitated. Is there someone else? A cousin, a close friend. The memory hit me like a slap. A towhead boy with Robert's stubborn chin, standing on my porch in the rain 15 years ago. Rachel had screamed at him to leave, called him a mistake. My grandson. Liam, I whispered. Marcus's fingers flew across his keyboard. 20 minutes later, we were staring at a Facebook profile. Liam Carter, 27, working construction in Pittsburgh. Single father to a gap-toothed girl named Sophie. Last post, another eviction notice. Guess we're living in the Chevy again this winter. The photo showed them eating cereal in a truck cab, Sophie's tiny fingers crossed beside the caption, "Wish us luck finding a real home." Something in my chest splintered. Find him, I told Marcus. And draft the paperwork. Everything, the house, the remaining funds, my grandmother's china, goes to Liam. But the process. I don't care if we have to fight Rachel in every court in the state. That boy is getting what should have been his all along. As we left, Marcus handed me a key, the original brass one from my front door, which he'd somehow retrieved from Rachel. It felt heavier than it ever had before. That night back at Willowbrook, I pressed the key to my lips and made a promise to the empty room. Enjoy your pretty new kitchen, Rachel, because I'm coming home. The return. 6 years to the day they left me at Willowbrook, I walked back into my daughter's life. The charity gala was Rachel's crowning achievement, her Homes for Hope fundraiser at the Grand Ballroom of the Ritz-Carlton. I knew she'd be there. She never missed an opportunity to show off how generous she was to strangers, while her own mother rotted away in a Medicaid-funded room. Marcus had arranged everything. The black town car. The navy blue dress that matched the one I wore to Robert's funeral. Liam's rented tuxedo that he kept tugging at like the collar was choking him. You sure about this, Grandma? Liam asked as we pulled up to the hotel. His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. Little Sophie slept in the back seat, her head lolling against the car seat. More sure than I've been about anything in years, I said, adjusting the pearl earrings Robert gave me on our 25th anniversary. The same ones Rachel had listed in an insurance claim as lost 2 months after dumping me. The ballroom glittered like a diamond necklace under the chandeliers. A string quartet played something classical and expensive. And there, at the center of it all, stood Rachel in a gold sequined gown, Daniel beside her in his penguin suit, shaking hands with donors. I waited until the auctioneer introduced her as the visionary behind tonight's success before I made my move. The crowd parted as Marcus wheeled me forward. The squeak of the wheels cut through the polite applause. Rachel's smile froze when she saw me. Her champagne flute slipped from her fingers, shattering on the marble floor. "Mom," the word came out strangled. 100 heads swiveled toward us. "Hello, Rachel." I kept my voice steady, though my heart hammered against my ribs. "You remember Liam, don't you? Your nephew?" The color drained from her face. Daniel actually took a step back, bumping into a waiter carrying canapes. Marcus cleared his throat loud enough for the room to hear. "As Mrs. Carter's legal counsel, I'm pleased to announce she's rescinded all prior power of attorney designations. Effective immediately, Liam Carter is the sole beneficiary of the Carter estate, including the family home at 2147 Willow Lane." Rachel's perfect facade cracked. "You can't do that. She's not competent." "Actually," Marcus pulled a document from his briefcase. "These signed affidavits from 3 independent psychiatrists say otherwise. And this," he produced another paper with a dramatic flourish, "is a court order halting the sale of the property pending investigation into the unauthorized liquidation of assets." The room buzzed with whispers. A society columnist started typing furiously on her phone. Liam stepped forward, his construction worker hands clenched at his sides. "You left her. You took everything. And you thought no one would care?" Rachel's eyes darted around the room, searching for support. Finding none, she turned on me with a hiss. "You were supposed to die in that place." The gasps from the crowd were almost comical. A woman dropped her purse. Someone muttered, "Jesus Christ." I reached into my handbag and pulled out the brass key, the one to the front door Rachel thought she owned. "The funny thing about houses," I said loud enough for everyone to hear, "is that the person with the key gets to decide who comes home." That's when Sophie, who'd been woken up and brought in by Marcus's assistant, came running through the crowd in her flower girl dress from a wedding the day before. "Grandma," she shouted, throwing her arms around my neck. The room erupted. Rachel looked like she might vomit. Daniel was already edging toward the exit. And Liam, my beautiful, brave grandson, lifted me from the wheelchair like I weighed nothing and carried me out of that ballroom like the queen I was. As we passed the auction table, I saw the display for the premier lot, a weekend getaway at a luxury cabin. The bidding sheet showed Rachel and Daniel as the top donors. I took the pen and crossed out their names. "Let's go home," I told Liam. And for the first time in 6 years, I meant it. The legacy. The first morning I woke up in my own bed after 6 years, I thought I was dreaming. Sunlight streamed through the lace curtains Robert and I had picked out on our trip to Venice. The same faint smell of lemon polish and old books lingered in the air. Even the creak of the floorboard near the closet sounded exactly as I remembered. Then I heard the giggles. I found Sophie sitting cross-legged on the kitchen counter, her tiny hands covered in pancake batter, while Liam pretended to scold her. "You're gonna make Grandma think we're savages," he said, wiping flour from her nose. "Grandma likes me messy," Sophie declared, and I couldn't argue. Not when her smile reminded me so much of Robert's.
The doorbell rang.
Rachel stood on the porch in her yoga clothes, no makeup, her Mercedes idling at the curb. For a heartbeat, we just stared at each other through the screen door. The mother she'd discarded, and the daughter I no longer recognized. "You changed the locks," she said finally. I kept my hand on the doorframe. "You sold my china." A muscle twitched in her jaw. "I came for my things." Behind me, Sophie's laughter drifted in from the kitchen. Rachel's eyes flickered toward the sound, then back to me. "So it's true. You replaced me with some stranger's kid. He's Robert's blood, just like you." My voice surprised me. No anger, just tired sadness. And unlike you, he came when I called. Rachel opened her mouth, then snapped it shut when Liam appeared behind me, his tattooed arms crossed over his chest. The way she recoiled would have been funny if it didn't hurt so much. 10 boxes in the garage, Liam said. All your designer crap. Take it and go. She left without another word. Through the window, I watched her toss the boxes into her trunk like they were garbage. Maybe we both were to her now. That afternoon, Liam and I sat on the back porch sipping sweet tea, the way Robert and I used to, while Sophie chased fireflies in the twilight. You okay? Liam asked, watching me trace the rim of my glass. I thought about Rachel's empty eyes at the door, about the years I'd spent wondering what I'd done wrong. Then I looked at Sophie trying to stuff a lightning bug into a mason jar, her giggles floating through the humid air. Better than okay, I said. The legal battles dragged on for months, of course. Rachel contested the will. Lost. Appealed. Lost again. The judge called her actions a textbook case of elder exploitation and ordered her to repay every cent she'd stolen, plus damages. The day the final ruling came down, Liam hung the deed to the house in a frame right beside Robert's old fishing license. Proof you can't cheat an honest man, he said, paraphrasing one of Robert's favorite sayings. I added my own twist, or his wife. Now, when people ask how I could disinherit my own child, I tell them about the Christmas Sophie and I spent wrapping toys for kids in shelters. About the way Liam rebuilt the porch swing with the same careful hands Robert had. About the Sunday mornings when the three of us eat pancakes in our pajamas, syrup dripping everywhere, and I realized this, not the fancy antiques or the fat bank accounts, is what Robert really left me. A legacy isn't property. It's the love that outlives you. As for Rachel, the last I heard, she and Daniel divorced. She lives in a condo downtown. Sometimes I see her Homes for Hope ads on TV and wonder if she ever thinks about the home she threw away. But that's her story to tell. Mine ends here, in this kitchen, with Sophie's sticky fingerprints on the refrigerator and Liam singing off-key to the radio, with the brass key hanging on a hook by the door, right where it belongs. If this story reminded you that family is what you make it, hit like and share with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe, because everyone deserves a second chance at happiness. Now tell me in the comments, what would you have done in Evelyn's place?